Welcome to Massive Passive Cash Flow, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hello and welcome to this week's Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast. This is Gary Wilson, your host, and welcome aboard. Teachers, firemen, policemen, engineers, dentists, chiropractors, you know who you are. You're a professional, you're a business owner, and you like to invest in real estate, or you want to learn how to invest in real estate, which is great because that's what we're all about. It's all about education. And if you're interested in that, just go to realestatewithgarywilson.com website. Right on the front page, grab as many as the books as you can get for free, okay, different subjects. And also we have a community site loaded with investor agents who are trained to work with us investors. And I know they are because I train them. The only certification they can get is through me. So they're trained to work with us, help us make money in real estate. And we cover the United States and Canada right now, even the Bahamas. So wherever you are in the world, if you want to invest in the good old USA, good time to do it. So welcome aboard. Go to the silver level, click on members area. If you're a member, if you're not, on the right-hand side, you can get it for free for a month, okay? Now, we got a special guest today. His name is Zack Boothe. And a few years ago, Zack was a window cleaner. And you can even find his window cleaning tutorial videos on YouTube with millions of views. However, Zack always dreamt of being a real estate investor, all right? Taking a leap of faith, he walked away from window cleaning and within a handful of years was making over $1 million a year from real estate investing. With successful businesses, he now spends his time helping others see how simple it is to make money in real estate. Amen to that. And Zack is here today to share his inside secrets to finding massively discounted properties regardless of your experience level. Welcome to the show, Zack.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, just to start things off, would you mind doing a quick intro? Just tell people who you are, and we'll jump into some meat and potatoes. How's that?
Yeah. So like you said, my name is Zack Boothe. I grew up in Utah, and I've been an entrepreneur. I started that window cleaning business when I was 17, ran it for a decade, but I got burnt out. It wasn't something I aspired to do. It was paying the bills, but it was not happy. It was not fulfilled. And I definitely was not making the kind of money I wanted to make to provide for my family and live the dream life I wanted to. And I knew real estate was a good option. And back in 2012, I bought my first duplex, and we lived in one half and rented the other and did really well. I mean, I was getting paid to live there. And I wanted to do more of that. It's like, well, that was easy. Let's do more. But then all of a sudden, the banks wanted bigger down payments, and they wanted better debt to income. And they had all these requirements, which became barriers to my entry into doing it on a bigger scale. And I could not figure out how to do it. And then I started hearing these gurus talk about get into real estate with no money down and listening to podcasts just like this. And it's like, well, okay, how does that work? And I learned about something called real estate wholesaling, where you basically just do the marketing and the hustle, which I'm not afraid to work hard, and you find off-market discounted properties and can make tens of thousands of dollars just by finding the deal, just by being the one that's willing to do the work that other people aren't willing to. And I was like, that's it. That's my entry, because then I can go in and actually negotiate directly with the sellers and pick up rentals and actually become an investor and have cash flow. And so that first full year, I actually went for the jump and made it happen. I walked away from window cleaning officially. I did $100,000, a little over that first year, which was good. It wasn't what I was ultimately trying to do, but for the first year, I was very happy. The second year, we did just shy of $500,000. And then the year after that, we did 1.2 million. And so I quickly had explosive growth. And during that journey, we could talk about it, but I became a real estate coach by accident, truly. And it's funny now where I'm currently sitting. I'm in a car in Tampa, Florida. Like I said, my main business is in Utah. But I got my cameraman behind me. Say hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
And then I got Miguel, who's been following me on social media. He's driving with us to an appointment right now. But I came out here. This is day 10 of a 40-day challenge, actually. And I'm so confident in what I teach my students. I wanted to prove it. I wanted to show it. So I'm taking $1,000, and my goal is to turn it into over 40 grand in 40 days.
Awesome.
And Yeah, and film it and put it all out there on YouTube for everyone to see exactly what I do and how I do it. And it's been a heck of a journey. We have 4 contracts already, so starting from scratch. So we're doing really, really well. So that's kind of an overview of where I've been and where I'm at exactly right now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that's a great intro and a great story, and I appreciate that. And I think everybody north of Florida is jealous because it's still wintertime, and if we're going to kind of date time stamp this podcast, and you're down amongst the palm trees and the dolphins.
That's why I'm in Florida. This can be done anywhere in the country, but I thought, if I'm going to go anywhere to do this, it's going to be sunny, and it's going to be in the wintertime when I want that sun.
Amen. So if you could, you mentioned a moment ago starting from scratch. What would you say for everybody listening? There's a lot of new people maybe haven't heard of wholesaling. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen newcomers make, and how can they avoid some of them?
Well, I think a big part of it is understanding that real estate investing, it doesn't matter if you're trying to do giant multifamily syndications and you're trying to make $2-3 million a deal, or if you're trying to just find a flip opportunity on a single family home and make 10, 20, 30 grand, to find that flip for a flipper. Real estate investing is marketing. That is the business. Because if you're not finding deals, if you're not finding opportunities, you can't use all the fun exit strategies that everyone talks about. You can't hold rentals, you can't flip, you can't do syndications, you can't do anything consistently without leads. So I think that's the number one mistake that people don't realize is marketing is the business. Absolutely.
And I know in the past, for me, a lot of people get started off wholesaling before they move into buy and hold and flipping and things like that. And what I found out very quickly was if I build up a good buyer's list first, build up that demand, it's easier to have deal flow because then you go out and you fill the orders. You're basically like a doctor prescribing the remedy, and you go find all these properties. You've already got them sold because you've already got the demand. So it all starts with the marketing. It's perfect discussion there. So now, when it comes to the coaching, I'm glad you touched on that, the coaching and the mentoring. And not a lot of people do that. They'll go through their lives, benefiting from what they learn, but they don't share it. There's an old saying from John Adams, one of our founding fathers, who said, if I have an apple and I give you the apple, now you have the apple, I don't have the apple because there's only one apple. But if I have an idea and I give you the idea, now we both have the idea and we both benefit. And then you can keep ongoing perpetually. So when it comes to coaching and mentoring, what would you say was your inspiration, or even was it a particular student or somebody you were flipping with on the other side, or how did that actually start?
Yeah. So the year I did $500,000, I was pinching myself. That was more money than I ever made, and I did it so quickly, truly, like as far as time frame, going from just a broke window cleaner to that kind of freedom. And, I walked in, paid off debts, went to Brazil for a month and spent time with my wife's family. I went to Alaska. I indulged a little bit, right, which was great. But then I thought, what should be my next year's goal? What do I want to accomplish? And I thought, well, let's go for a goal that makes me uncomfortable. I was kind of shocked how much I had done, and I wanted to do $1 million the next year, but truly I had no idea how to do that. I was kind of shocked I had done as well as I had. So I was doing a self-help journal called Living Your Best Year Ever by Darren Hardy. And that first 100 pages, you create 3 big goals. One of those big goals I had was to do $1 million. And in there, it talked about the importance of giving away whatever it was you wanted to receive. Yeah. So I had to give away $1 million before I had it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, intuitively, that doesn't make sense. So I sat down with my wife and I was like, babe, like, how do we put $1 million in other people's pockets? Like, so I can do this. And I was like, I don't want to get distracted. Like, how do we do this? And so we thought about it, and we ultimately decided that I was going to find 10 people and teach them my marketing system. I was going to teach them exactly what I was doing to make that much money wholesaling so quickly.
Yeah.
And so I brought on 10 students. I made them pay me, of course, because if they didn't have skin in the game, they wouldn't hold themselves or me accountable for what I was teaching them. Yeah. And so I brought these 10 people on, and immediately they started having explosive success. One of them, Scott Dallinger, made over he made $113,000 profit on his first wholesale deal with me.
Nice.
Life-changing. Quit his corporate job, full-time real estate investor now to this day. Talk to him all the time. Amazing. Wife Alejandra, they're having a baby boy right now. Just beautiful couple. And, and he's one of many. And the coolest thing is the more I taught, the more I learned. And at the end of that year, I did $1.2 million, 100% because of the skill sets and things that I learned from teaching. And because I wasn't the most experienced person. So I learned a lot from my students. But more importantly than the money I made from wholesaling was the fulfillment I got from coaching. Like it became more of a purpose-driven thing for me. It became more of like a life's mission. And so I became a real estate coach because it's what fulfills me. And, now I have students all over the place. And, while I'm doing this challenge, I'm still spending a ton of time with my students. And, I actually am putting a pause on my 40-day challenge right now. I'm out in front of a house right now because one of my students is actually here in Tampa. And he said, Zach, I've got an appointment. Will you come negotiate it for me and let me see and help me? So I'm putting my 40-day challenge on hold to help him because I'm so happy about it. Like, I love it. Right. I love doing those kinds of things. So I became a coach to give back. And then it kind of just evolved into now it's a main focus of mine. I mean, I still do a ton of wholesaling. I have a wholesaling operation in Utah, and we're branching out into Tampa, during and after this challenge, of course. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And when people ask me that, why do you coach? Why don't you just keep doing all these deals and making more money? And I finally and I knew they could never understand the answer, right? But I finally came up with an answer that everybody can understand. Think about when you were a kid and you learned how to ride a bike and your dad or your mom took the training wheels off for the first time. And you're cruising on a road, you're really free because it's just you and the two wheels. You don't have the training wheels anymore, right? And you got the big grin on your face. Well, who's behind you in the background and what are they doing? It's your mom and dad pumping the fist in the air. Like, yeah, that's the same feeling you get, isn't it? When you coach somebody and they make $113,000 on their first deal, that you can't pay. There's no price you can put on that type of feeling. It's a fulfillment beyond.
It was better than me. It was better than me making 113. It really was.
Yep. So I get it, man. And by the way, the whole philosophy you described there is really it comes from Zig Ziglar, who says if you just simply help enough other people get what they want, you'll get plenty of what you want. So I know Darren Hardy personally. We're in the same mastermind group together for years. Actually met him right there in Tampa. And we went on a cruise together later on, and we did another one down over in the Queen Mary when it was docked at out in Long Beach, California. But in any case, so back to this. What I want people to recognize here is that you can do this anywhere. I've taught classes in over 600 cities and towns in U.S. and Canada, and there's not a single one that you can't invest in. Wherever people rent, you've got investments. Wherever people buy homes, you've got investments, right? Flipping or renting. So would you agree that you can literally invest anywhere? You just have to understand the market, right? And see what's happening and plug in. I know I'd make it sound simple, but tell me a little bit about the where as far as investing goes, investing strategy.
Yeah. So if my thing is like, if you have hesitations that your market's too competitive or too difficult, you need to understand that if there's someone flipping houses, if there's someone wholesaling houses, if there's someone buying properties and renting them out in your market, you can do it too.
Yep.
So if you live in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, with a population of 50 people, maybe you can't do it there. Yep. Right? Fair. But I have students in Canada doing it in New Jersey. Yep. I've got students that are in in Long Island, New York, that are doing it in Indianapolis. I got students in California doing it in Texas, and I've got students in California doing it in California. I've got students being successful all over the country. So if you have investors, you guys can do it too. Yeah. Right? It's the people look at life like it's this big pie, and if someone else has a piece of that pie, you're going to have less pie for you. And they always talk about market share, and I think it's all bullshit. I think it's a limiting mindset, and it's not true. There's so much abundance. It's just that people aren't willing to go earn and add enough value in this world to to be worthy and deserve what they would like in life.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I love the dialogue here. Which I know we got to be mindful of your time too, because I can see you pulled up. You've got a property to look at, but would you mind sharing maybe one of your favorite strategies, like kind of paint a picture or maybe a case study, something like that,
Yeah. So the 40-day challenge is going to be released on my YouTube channel. You get to see exactly what my favorite strategies are. That is driving around and looking for properties that have physical signs of neglect, adding those properties to a marketing list, and then reaching out to them. And you can reach out to them through postcards, texts, and those kinds of things. But I've been doing all cold calling down here because it's the cheapest way to do it, and the most efficient. And I'm pulling a solid lead about every 2 hours. And, one deal is an average of 20 grand for me. Like I said, I've gotten 4 contracts already. I don't want to be I don't want to spoil the fun for you guys watching the show, but I have made a lot of money in 10 days. Right. Yeah. And so my favorite is just driving around and then marketing to those properties. I called the gal this morning, and I was like pumping my fist after the conversation. She's like, yeah, it's been vacant for a year and a half. We don't know what we want to do. How did you know it was vacant? And I was like, yeah, I drove by it. And she's like, oh, okay. And it's like, I was like pumping my fist. I was like, money, this is such a perfect deal. And it's like, it's been sitting there vacant, people, for a year and a half. Where the hell are all the Tampa investors, right? Oh, it's too competitive. The crazy thing is I was on a podcast like 3 or 4 months ago, and I had a guy tell me that Tampa, he had to pull out of Tampa because it was too competitive. And it's like, too competitive. Come on now. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so there's so much opportunity. That's my favorite strategy by far.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, winners, always have a game plan to win. They don't have a game plan to not lose. They have a game plan to win. So yes, more densely populated area, there's going to be more investors. Absolutely. It's all relative. But the thing is really true champions, they keep going. When everybody quits, the champions keep going. When they're out of gas, they keep going. When they're out of breath, they keep going. That's what champions do, because sometimes it is tough out there. But be a champion and keep going. Just don't give up. That's the only way to actually lose in life, is if you quit. So don't quit. Just keep going. You'd be amazed at what you're capable of, even when you are out of breath and out of gas. So one more quick thing, if you don't mind. All right. So let's say you get that discounted property. How do you know which exit strategy necessarily to implement? What are the options, or is there a formula there?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to qualify those people as, do they want to go the traditional route, or do they want to work with an investor? So I asked the question, well, you could probably put some money into it, fix it up, and sell it for quite a bit more, and deal with the traditional route and an agent. But maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you want to work with an investor like me and sell it as is. What's more important to you, like just to be done with it, or to try and squeeze as much juice out of it as you can? Yeah. And if they say they want to work with an investor, I go, okay, great. Sounds like I'm a fit for you. And then I go and work with them and get it under contract for as low as I can. I talk to them about what their needs and wants are. If I identify that their wants and needs may fit a seller finance or subject to or lease option type structure, that's what I'll do. But a lot of the times people just want cash and want to be done. Right. And so it's usually as low as I can get it. And I have negotiation tactics that I use to do that. And then once I get it under contract, then I have cash buyers lists that I can blast it out and get my best offer. I can look at flipping it myself. I can look at all of my strategies. But what's most important is most people don't know where they're going because they don't have a goal. Right. So first you need to have a goal of what you're trying to accomplish, and then you can get properties under contract, look at all of the options and say, what is the best option for my goal right now? And that's usually how we pick our exit strategy. I mean, I've done everything from lease options, subject to, seller finance. We flipped houses. We do a lot of wholesaling just because it's mostly in line with my goals. But that would probably how I would approach every single deal.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I just want to make a comment to everybody listening. For those of you who have been following me, obviously we rebranded a few months ago. to Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast. It was real estate investing for professional men and women, and downloaded in all, nearly 50 countries. And I've interviewed hundreds of investors. But I'm telling you, this was the first one we've interviewed where the interviewee is actually out on the job doing what he's talking about, walking the talk. He's actually out with an investor, a mentee in a driver's seat, and going to go on a property to actually do the analysis.
I'm actually in the passenger seat.
There you go. That's right. There you go. And you're going to go in and do the analysis, and probably in another couple hours, you'll have an offer out to those folks. And, so you're seeing it firsthand. Anybody watching, if on the YouTube or listening to the podcast, keep that in mind. Not many people will do an interview like this while they're actually out there doing what they're teaching you how to do. So, Zach, I know we got a few minutes here, where I know you got to get going. You're a busy guy, you're successful, but you're going to have a lot of people want to get a hold of you because of this. And how can they get a hold of you? Anything you can, like a free chapter, a report, something they can dig into,
Yep. So I'm gonna tell you this. I'm sure many people want to see this 40-day challenge. You should watch it. There's gonna be a ton of value. I don't hold back. I don't have like little secrets that I'm gonna hold back and you only get through my course. I don't do that. My goal is to add so much value through what I share here. So go to my my YouTube channel. It's DFD Mastery. So it stands for Driving $4. So DFD Mastery is the YouTube channel. My website is the same thing, dfdmastery.com. If you go to my website, there's a social media link, and that's going to have my Instagram, my Facebook, my TikTok, my YouTube, everything that I'm doing on social media. So you can follow me on whatever platforms you want to. And then I'm sure some people may be interested in talking to either me or one of my onboarding coaches about my coaching program. It's by application only, because I'm a very hands-on coach. I mean, I talk to my students. I don't just go, hey, buy my package, best of luck. Right. We do coaching calls. We spend time together. I know my students. And so it's by application only, because we only take a certain amount. So you have to apply. So on my website, it says apply or book a call. I don't remember what my team has it as right now. But you click on that, fill out the questionnaire, and schedule a time to talk with us. Okay. So if that's what you're going for, but at least follow along on the social media stuff. There's a lot of amazing, valuable, free stuff out there for you. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say thank you very much for taking your precious time to do this podcast interview. I know you're busy. Obviously, you're multitasking right now as we speak. so for everybody listening, just remember DFD Mastery, YouTube channel, dfd.com, website. Follow along on social media and learn on you can learn. And maybe Zach will come to your town too and drive around like he's driving around with Miguel right now, and go and do properties right there on the spot. Couldn't think of a better education. Also, remember, please visit realestateWithGaryWilson.com. I'm titled it that way because I didn't want to make it too flashy and salesy. It's just basically what you see is what you get. Come and join the group on the community site so you can have an investor agent in your area serve you when it comes to investing. Nothing more important than having the right team members on your team. They are trained specifically to work with us investors, okay? And grab some free books. Go onto the YouTube channel, Gary Wilson, Real Estate with Gary Wilson YouTube channel. I've got hundreds of videos, dozens of playlists for every subject you can imagine: flipping, buying, rentals, wholesaling, personal development. Join the group. If wherever you want to go in life, you got to take action at that next level. And the best way to do that is to hang around people already where you want to be. And this is the way to do it. So take care of yourselves. God bless. I'll see you on the next podcast. And Zach, thanks again, buddy, for doing this. Any final parting words of wisdom for you? You got about a minute to go.
You guys can do this. I was a window washer, guys. Like, don't look at me like this. Wow, he's so great, so smart. I was a window washer. Like, it doesn't take the smartest guy in the room. I promise I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Do I have a work ethic? Yes. Does it take a work ethic? Yes. Right. So go out and get started. Right. Like, you guys can do this.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Zach. Thanks, everybody else. Have an awesome day. Even better tomorrow. And I'll see you next week. Take care and God bless.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.